Oiler alert! Oiler alert! I am speaking to you, the Vancouver Canucks fan who clicked on this video, to let y'all know that I think this might have to be a thought that we keep in the back of our minds heading into the next little while. And hey, if you are not a Vancouver Canucks fan watching this video, let's say you're an Oilers guy, stumbled upon this one, you're like, hey, that's an interesting topic, then stick around. We got some really interesting stuff for you, because today we're talking about one of the top goal scorers in the National Hockey League. For a period yesterday, he was the #1 guy in the league in goals. And actually, yeah, no, he still is. There just happens to be a really big tie for #1 in NHL goal scoring right now. Today we're talking about Vancouver Canucks forward Kiefer Sherwood, who's currently tied with Morgan Geekie, Cole Caulfield, Pavel Dorofeyev, Jack Hughes, Nathan McKinnon, and Mark Scheifele for #1 in the league in goals. Here's the thing. Sherwood is a hot name right now because he is the top Vancouver Canucks goal scorer, bar none. There's nobody else who has as many goals as Sherwood. He has been so effective. He's been scoring these really, really nice goals. Not all of them are garbage goals. Not all of them are lucky shots. But he's firing it from distance. He's coming in on breakaways. He's throwing goalies' jock straps into the rafters. He's doing very, very well. And the big question has been, what in the world do the Vancouver Canucks do with this guy? Because Kiefer Sherwood is making $1.5 million a year till the end of this season, and he's 30 years old. He is due for probably the biggest pay raise of his NHL career after putting up a really good season last year. He had 19 goals, he almost hit 20, he had 40 points, and he went out there and set the NHL record for most hits in a season. Absolute insanity what Sherwood was able to accomplish last year, and this year he's looking even more effective. Which is why the age-old debate of Vancouver hockey bubbles up under the surface one more time. What does this team do? Do they re-sign Sherwood? They give him a contract akin to what Dakota Joshua got? They give him a $4-5 million deal for a decent amount of term? Or do they find it in their hearts to trade Sherwood? Because he's making $1.5 million a year right now, and he is the top goal scorer in the NHL. Or at least one of them. Yeah, there's a bunch of guys. The parity in the NHL is insane. That's going to be the topic of the next video, by the way. We're going to talk about how things are very different this year, and you can say it's problematic, but either way, we had ourselves Rick Dhaliwal making an appearance on Halford and Brough yesterday, on Friday in the morning, to talk about this same Kiefer Sherwood situation. And I wanted to give a big shout out over to Canucks News Summaries. You know him, you love him, because he went out there and transcribed a lot of the Sherwood talk from Dhali. Take a look at these notes here from the Halford and Brough hit. Via Rick Dhaliwal, the Vancouver Canucks are continuing to take a wait-and-see approach, and they are worried about another Dakota Joshua situation happening with Kiefer Sherwood. If he continues his torrid scoring pace, he'll price himself out of Vancouver. It starts at $5 million. And you also have Edmonton Oilers media reporting that the Oilers love Sherwood. Now, we'll put that little comment on the back burner for now, but just continue to talk about the Vancouver Canucks not wanting to get burned. Now, Dakota Joshua was a very particular situation because the guy ended up getting cancer the summer after he had his really big explosion year. He kind of forced the Canucks to sign him to the deal that he got signed to, and Vancouver was uncomfortable with that. They didn't really feel confident in giving Dakota that money in term, but they felt like they had to because they had lightning in a bottle from what they had seen out of him last season. And then he got cancer, and then he missed out a good chunk of time. And then he also was playing hurt throughout the course of the year too. And Dakota Joshua really fell from the highs that he was at in the Vancouver Canucks system last year. Hence the trade over to Toronto, and hence Vancouver's regret as to how everything went down. Nobody has a crystal ball, but if you did, and you've seen the future with how things went down later on, you probably could have concluded that a trade for Dakota Joshua at some point would have been the right move. Yes, it's true that he provided some very necessary scoring elements and pizzazz that helped the Vancouver Canucks in the playoffs that season, but you also have to think, hey, well, crystal ball says what happens next. He didn't play well, and he wasn't worth the contract. For Chief Keef, he is a stud right now. And this is the best hockey he has played in his entire National Hockey League career. So the question is this going to sustain itself as he gets into 31, 32, 33 years old? Or is this really just going to be the best hockey he's ever played? Who knows? And for the Vancouver Canucks, they have to start really thinking, do they want to keep this guy on, sign him because they think he's going to be able to sustain this, or are they just going to trade him away? Seems like the wait-and-see approach is the ideal scenario here. They want to wait and just kind of let the season breathe itself out, just to give Sherwood more of a sample size, because if he continues leading the NHL in goals, then okay, something's got to give at some point. But if the Canucks do decide to trade Kiefer Sherwood, hey, guess what? There's a team one province to the right that is apparently interested in acquiring Sherwood and his services. The Edmonton Oilers need winger support, and we have seen what they have done with guys who play with pace and who amp up the intensity. Mangiapane, Podkolzin, Matthew Savoy, these guys excel under the Oilers system. And a Kiefer Sherwood type asset with the goal-scoring touch that he has would add even more to that offense that the Oilers are trying so hard to cultivate this year. I say they're trying hard to because, I don't know if you noticed, Draisaitl, McDavid, and Bouchard aren't really themselves this year. It's kind of odd. But for the Edmonton Oilers, if they end up becoming a trade destination for Kiefer Sherwood, I wonder at what point do Vancouver start to think that they would be an appropriate destination? Like, do the Canucks just toss Sherwood out there onto the trade market if he continues scoring goals and he continues pricing himself out of this city? And do they even think of Edmonton as an option? Or do they say, no, sorry, we're not trading to the freaking Oilers. Let's just try to send him over to the East or something. They did that with Joshua. They didn't want to face Dakota Joshua in the Pacific every other night and every other matchup. So could Chief Keef, assuming he goes over to Edmonton and ends up signing with that team, could that be a very similar thought process? Or would the Oilers even want Chief Keef as a long-term guy? Would they want him only as a rental? Hey, we really need to win the Cup this year. Connor McDavid is giving us a prove-it deal. We don't want to disappoint that guy. We want to give him his chip. So we are going to do everything we can. And if that includes just keeping Kiefer Sherwood for a few weeks, then that includes that. Who knows? The entire Sherwood conundrum is all going to depend on how well he is able to perform these next few weeks here. Because Vancouver, while it's true that they might not have the patience to wait and see what happens with their centers, Kiefer Sherwood is in an entirely other boat because he's actually doing well. Like, he is doing above and beyond way, way better than anybody ever would have thought. So with all that in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Kiefer Sherwood and reports coming out that the Oilers are interested in trading for this guy? Do you think the Canucks should price him out on the market? Do you think they should try their best to re-sign him? What are your thoughts? Do you think there's a Dakota Joshua 2.0 situation waiting to happen here with Sherwood? Let me know all your opinions about that. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.